the master, this master teacher, scholar, lecturer, and historian of colors, vibration, chi energy origins, their constructs, and a master over what's considered the dark sciences, just to name a few. Listen, love family, this brother is a Moor, and that he will help us to gain clarity over the many fears associated with the religious indoctrination, black magic, occult, voodoo, and other superstitious, misunderstood metaphors and word terminologies. This widely acclaimed, consciously aware, and spiritually astute Moore has a website full of extensive pre-recorded lectures, forums, and DVDs on the mysteries surrounding African civilization and culture, with the plethora of YouTube videos viewed the world over. His website, www.azzaziel.com, is stocked with a wide variety of information geared towards broadening the total being and expanding self-knowledge through enlightenment, as the who and what you are is being revealed. And love family, this is chapter 27. We are here to witness and experience for ourselves some of the teachings of this iconic master. So please, 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 please help me welcome for the very first time a Moor and Brother Azzaziel Bey. Brother Azzaziel, are you there?
Yes, brother, I'm right here.
How are you? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Great to have you. Really appreciate you showing up and being a part of what we do on this show, sir. You are one dynamic brother, from what I understand, and it's a limited experience that I had or that I have. So that's why I was reaching out and wanted to make sure that we cross paths and be a part of what's going on, because you're doing some fascinating things with the chi energy. I just recently saw something where this sister had took a picture of some water. Well, she was shooting the picture over a lake or a stream or a canal or whatever it was, but there was a stream of light energy coming down, which looked like like a portal or some type of I can't remember what a Stargate kind of thing. It's like that stuff that they do the movies on. This is real, and we have to tap in. See, we all spooked about stuff, but we don't really deal with things that are of our nature, because we're so caught up in being afraid of everything. And so I just want to have you to come on so you can kind of pull our coats and help remind us of who and what we are with some of this energy work that you've been doing. So could you please share with us who Brother Azzaziel Bey is and what your specialty is, please, sir?
Yes, brother. Thank you very much for a fantastic introduction. That's good karma for you. Yeah, that's going to be some good karma, because you always honor. I consider anyone that has information that I don't have a master, especially if they've been dealing with it for quite some time. So you have masters in all ranges and ages and so forth, and we see these things, but we really don't. We take them lightly. You might see a very bright child that has returned and have a certain level of knowledge that you're amazed. So master is a very interesting word that can be used to describe someone who has some knowledge that you may want to obtain. I can obtain knowledge from a 5-year-old. About a year ago I learned something new from a newborn. So so that the term master, is relative to what you know. And yes, so I was listening to you speak as I was sitting here because I move around a lot on Saturday. That's why it's so hard for me to do things. But I said I liked your energy when we spoke, email and things. So I said, okay, I'll do this one and promote and give the brother a shout out or whatever needs to be done. Information that needs for people. Someone out there is probably going to hear something that they needed to hear.
Sure.
Yeah, my background is just a little bit too big and too long to try to go into all of that. But right at this particular point in time in my life, I'm really more into horticulture and, of course, the occult. And nature is really the occult, the origin of occult. But horticulture is very
Okay.
important right now, too, because we need to begin to move closer or move back into our natural fold. You're a natural person. You're not a Negro. You're not black. You're not really a Moor. You're not really any of those names. And when I say Moor, we take on names to describe different time periods and aspects of those time periods. So we are all of those things, but at the same time, you are actually a natural person. Out of all the titles and things you've been given, you are natural to nature and to the earth and to this planet. And then you go is your home, to be honest with you. So you are a natural person, and that's really where most people will have to eventually find out about, because even in Hawaii just told the United States that we are sovereign and we are natural people, and we are natural to Hawaii, and we no longer want to fall under U.S. rule, and we're not taking any, we're not using U.S. government or any of that stuff. You can still come here and passports and all of that, but we are now a nationality or a natural person, people. So the world is picking up on this. Even Obama had signed some contracts to allow people to nationalize themselves, even those who may think their name is, they're Indians and all of that. Those are all misnomers. They're natural people to this indigenous, to this world and this land especially. So this is happening. Eric Holder signed some documents that allows for you to claim who you are if you feel like you want to do that. I personally just call myself a natural person. I don't file no papers. I don't deal with none of the paperwork and all of that, because I don't need to put nobody on notice except myself.
There you go.
Yes. So you mentioned earlier, I'm just going to talk unless you got a question or you want to make a statement.
Well, I just know that, we many of us, myself included, and of course you have a very wide background, but just a little synopsis of who you are, where you hail from, where some things that you can share that's not so lengthy, and then we'll get into asking some questions, and the queue is starting to pick up a little bit, and we can get into some questions and those types of things, and you can just share at will. But just some little background, like where you're from. I don't know what part of the country you're in. I don't know the area code, so
I understand. Yeah. Actually, I'm born and raised in Harlem, New York.
Okay.
And I saw Malcolm X speak. I pretty much, from the early 50s all the way to today, even though I travel a lot, I grew up in Harlem. Okay, I met all the great people that come through here. You take pictures with them. Hey, how you doing, and all of that. You get to see stuff like that in New York, especially in Harlem. So I was, as I said before, right now I'm dealing with the horticulture, but we, back in 92, we discovered that there was a semi-movement called metaphysics that was outside the realm of what they call history. History teachers such as the greats, like Dr. Ben and Clark, and those were the great history teachers, but there was nothing dealing with the spiritual aspect of certain, the depthness of African systems and the depth of Moorish science and occult and all of that. Occult meaning hidden. So me and a few other people formulated a group called Grassroots, and we began to promote this, and we started renting out places, and myself and Phil Valentine and Bobby Hammett and Dawood and all the people you hear about now, some of them retired, some may not be, we began to do these things. And then today it ballooned into more of quite a wide range of various types of energies and speakers and so forth. As far as personal background, I have so much of that. So I don't know. I'm a lawyer. I'm an accountant. I'm a A+ tech. And I'm ex-military. I'm a recondo. I was in Germany and saw underground bases and so forth, and that really got me started on the conspiratorial energy. breaking stuff
Okay.
down and other things. Also, I'm a draftsman. I mean, when you live your life, you're supposed to learn as much as you possibly can.
That's
So
right.
my background,
That's
I
right.
could spend a whole show on that alone. And so I
Okay,
pretty
yeah.
much.
Well, you don't have to do that, but you know that's cool. That gives us quite a bit. So let's get into what. And you mentioned occult, which is hidden. You know, a lot of people are concerned about these words. Now, share with us the occult, voodoo, black magic. What does that mean, and how does that connect to us? Because some people, not me, but some of us, and maybe some of my audience, think that those things are removed and separate and not a part of us, and it doesn't have anything to do with us, and which in fact I believe they do. So share with us what you can regarding just a little bit on some of those words that incite fear, that is kind of pushing us away from learning ourselves.
Okay, so very good, my brother. Very good question. You're going to use your time well, huh? Yeah, occult is a very powerful word. Many words that we look at and fear, have a lot of fear for or joy for. I mean, just the English language is just a litany of evil, a litany of a lot of the definitions. You got to have 4 and 5 definitions, a lot of confusion. And a lot of occult energy got into the negative and positive, got into the English language. If you go to Nova Scotia, I went to Nova Scotia one time, and they gave me a book of all their curriculum, and they don't even use the English language anymore. They use symbols, and symbols that give the children positive energy, so whenever they get a certain age, they can move on and do the things they need to do and tap into, you have latent psychic energies within. Everyone has it. It's just that certain languages, toxic languages like English, will actually dumb you down and put fear into your heart. Say like words like, when I say things like do not, okay, when you say do and then you say not, you're actually saying yes and no at the same time. Do you or do you not? Which one is it? So when you say do not, most people will just say, oh, I better stop. That's not the thing to do. No, it's an oxymoron. Not only that, but you put a not into everything that you can do when you say the word not. So the language is misunderstood, and the concept of most languages, say for instance, I was out the other day, and the guy said to me, and sometimes I don't know what day it is because I'm out of that 7-day week. And see, that's another thing. You say your 7 days are weak. I say my 7 days are strong. But we do these things. Okay. Yeah, you make your week strong by saying that it is strong. If I go and I tell you, oh, I got to go to work next week, your week is going to be weak, okay? Because you spoke it into existence. You see, your birthday, and we get into the word occult. Your birthday, you don't know when you're born because you take 9 months to get here, and then you celebrate every 12 months to show you the confusion. Why are you celebrating every 12 months? It took you 9 months to get here. You got me confused now. And then you celebrate every 12 months. Okay? So now, today, we call today Saturday. I don't know about you, and I understand the different names of the week and the gods they serve and all of that, and a lot of them are black and some of them are may not, or Greek, or whatever. Saturday, of course, Saturn and all of that, but you can't see that nowhere you can't see Saturday, you can't see Monday, you can't see Tuesday. The only day you could see out here is Sunday. Every day when you get up, that sun comes up, and that day belongs to the sun. So that means that you only have one day out here. You only have one day, and that one day is the sun day. There's no Monday. Monday means moon day. Since when does the moon have a day? You understand me? So the concepts of what you think you're learning, or the concepts of how you may watch a television show or a movie, and they speak to you through the movie, and you think you're getting it. And meanwhile, they're double talking. It's symbolic code. Like, for instance, oh, he was so nice. That guy right there, he's a nice guy. Oh, why did they kill him? He was so nice. The word nice means stupid. And that's in Webster's dictionary. You go to Webster's dictionary, because nice was a person who could not speak. He was dumb. He didn't have a tongue. He had his tongue cut out or whatever. He was dumb, so that means he was nice. He didn't speak. So since he was dumb, the word dumb also became stupid. Because
wow.
Yeah. So when you Queen Latifah and all these shows, they say, oh, and then they say the kids, which are goats or sheep to follow that follow you.
Right.
You're not a kid. You have children. So your children are nice. Your kids are nice. Your goats are stupid. Your sheep are stupid is actually what they're saying. And these are highly educated people who know this.
Wow.
The people watching don't know this. Okay? They'll just think, oh, that was a great speech. He said how nice the children were. Okay? You understand me? So now the word occult. First of all, the word occult means hidden. When you see, the word occult comes from, it was a German word coming from acht, which would meant 8 at one time. When they use it, and when they say acht. Acht means 8 in German, which is one of the languages that were merged with Spanish or Latin and quite a few other languages, French, to create an English language. But the occult means hidden. So when something is hidden, when you take in astrology, when the sun is behind the moon or the moon behind the sun, they call, and you can't see the moon or you can't see the sun because it's behind it, like an eclipse. One of them are occult. Okay? So when I explain that, no one's scared. But then I say, oh, he's into the occult. Well, how do you know what I'm talking about? Maybe I'm talking about the sun is behind the moon. The occult means that your information, your history that has been hidden. So in order to, it's just like the Bible. The Bible has, I think, 66 books, something like that. But there are hundreds and hundreds of books that were never put in, like the Nag Hammadi Library, like the pseudepigraphas. Those are hundreds of books that were never put in, but only for you to read that one Bible and then graduate from there and read the others if you feel like you must. Because too many books to put into one little book for you to read. You already got too many in there now. Niggas don't read that shit down. So now you're talking about 300 more books, and then you're complaining about something that ain't in the Bible. They took it out. We need to take some more stuff out there. Break that down, man. Why you don't need a book? So they didn't put all those books in there for that reason. And we're talking about the Moors here, Shakespeare and all of that. So those books became occult. Unless you seek them, is the only way you'll find them. Otherwise, no one will ever even hear of it. They're hidden. They are a cult. Okay?
Okay.
The concept originates with nighttime. During the day, you could see. At night, until the invention of streetlights by Lewis Latimer, whose information and knowledge was stolen by, of course, Edison and all of that. Lewis Latimer being the brother who lit London and then lit New York. The lights you have in New York and the lights you have in London come out of this brother who was Lewis Latimer. And and before the advent of that, you had to have candles and things like that to see. And if you went out into the dark, into the woods, everything became occult. It was hidden. And you had fear. When you turn the light off in a room to a child, he can't see anymore. Everything is occult, and he's afraid of the dark because he don't know what's out there. He don't know, he can't see his way. So the same concept in nature. When you didn't have your campfire burning or your lights on, everything became occult or hidden. And this is the simplest way I could break that down. Became hidden, and then you took on fear. The fear comes in based on you not able to see what's going on around you. Which is good because that fear, in a sense, alerts you to be aware of things. But fear is good and fear is bad. But the fear comes in based on the unknown.
Okay. Very
So
good.
like a
Hey,
person,
that.
like a person into their particular religion or whatever they're into, usually with religions, they have to put a demon in first, because the demon blocks any other religion from coming on into you. Meaning that if I'm a Christian and you come to me with Islam, I'm going to say, no, 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 the blood of Jesus, the blood of Jesus. That's the demon to block any new information that goes against that religion. So that has to be put in first. That must be put in first before you can even deal with a person. Or if you're trying to teach somebody, you got to pull that demon out first. You got to pull that demon that has them stuck. Just like if a person was sick. You can't heal anyone, and you are unable to heal anyone until you get past the demon that they have in them that keeps them sick. And that demon, yeah, it's a demon in there, and that demon you could give them all kind of medicine, and they'll go right back and do the same things that made them sick or ill. They won't listen to everything. And we all have a little bit of that in us. We all know what's right to eat. We decide we prefer to eat flesh. We prefer to eat things that are unnatural for people with the type of teeth that we have and the stomachs that we have. The other day, a brother was talking about wheatgrass. You don't have two stomachs like a cow. What do you mean wheatgrass? What's for cows? You drinking cow milk? You eating cow food? You don't even know what's going on out here anymore. No one even knows what food really is. People walk into supermarkets and think that's food. Those are products. Those are not food. Meaning that they're
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a very respected and loving sister, Adama. She speaks to stuff like that all the time. She lives it, and you're saying exactly what she says, which I know, and plenty of us in the listening audience knows to be true. Interesting, very, very interesting. So now you do some very profound things with chi energy, and I must admit, excuse me, having been exposed to some of what I've seen, I'm doing a lot more sunbathing, sun worshiping, in terms of pulling that energy in terms of you being out by the water, excuse me, in the trees and those types of things. Help us to understand what the significance is of how to raise your chi energy or raise your energy level or vibrations. Why do we need to do that?
Yes, brother. Very good question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Chi, another word in Feng Shui or in Taoist principles, chi represents fire. But chi is the life force that you have in your body that gives you the energy to go about your day and do the things you need to do with that pep in your step, with that extra energy. For instance, during the day, your body absorbs a lot of positive ions, and those positive ions allow the energy for you to go to the gym and work out. That's why you don't feel all tired and weak at the gym when you're working out or when you're riding your bike during the day when the sun is shining. Those are positive ions. Mm-hmm. At night, nighttime produces what's known as negative ions, meaning that when you lay down to go to sleep, it opens you up. It opens up the canals for the blood to flow easier, lowers your blood pressure, all these wonderful things that the negative ions do to replenish, to allow the body to rejuvenate itself. So now we want to try to pull both of excess amounts of those. Like some people are lacking in those, meaning that sexual. If anybody has an illness, those illness pull chi from other parts of the body to try to heal the part of the body that's ill.
Okay, that balancing thing, trying to balance itself. Yeah.
Trying to balance it out so you feel tired all the time. So you feel a certain way all the time because the energy is being used to stop you from falling over, having a heart attack, or to stop you from getting really ill. So you're tired, you're weak, whatever's going on in you. The chi is moving the area to fight off whatever the demon or the parasite is in the body, which we know that there's a problem with the world today because, especially in America, because everybody that you know got something wrong as an illness, and we know that's not natural.
Mm-hmm.
So that means
Mm-hmm.
that means the electromagnetic radiation. That means the spraying. That means the fields and fields of genetically modified food. If I had to leave a message for your audience, and that would be learn what real food is, because real food has high, powerful chi in it, and chi can listen your life. There are people alive that are over 100 and 200. There are very old people on planet Earth, but in the United States, I think the oldest person is like 175 to 200. But outside the United States, there are people over 5, 6, 7, 8, and 900 years old. Because in America, your information is limited to mind control. Every other country knows that America is mind control. Everybody knows that. And all you got to do is just travel once and find that out. I speak to people coming from Germany, from London, and I travel to those places also. The technology is much more far advanced. I mean, the system is just a better system, even dealing with the metric system. So America is mind control, and I can't. Just about everything that you do, hear, see, has to do with some connection to some type of programming, mind control, religion. All religions are designed to control large amounts of people without the use of technology. You're a free thinker. You don't need to take someone else's ideas and concept of what a God is and try to incorporate that within you, because at the point of death, when you're getting ready to leave here, there's a lot of stuff you have to unlearn. Okay, that's purgatory. You have to unlearn a lot of stuff. Okay, so you have to be choicey have an open mind and think for yourself, because what's real and true in your reality may not be true in another person's reality. We have a whole species mind pattern, meaning that because I have melanin and have an afro, that means everybody on planet Earth is connected to the species mind pattern that I am in, because the thought that comes down through that species mind pattern creates the DNA, and that DNA says, hey, you're going to look like that guy in Africa with that afro because y'all have the same species mind pattern. And so do all Europeans have the same species mind pattern. There's not a human race. Every type of genetics you see on planet Earth has its own species. You are not like Europeans. You cannot be like Europeans. You can't eat what they eat. You can't take the medicine they take. You don't even think like them. Until recently, now you're trying to act like them. Now you're trying to do the things they do, but it is not working. It's making you look like what they call ratchet. You understand me?
Okay.
So you are not like them. You are superior. You are superior. But when we get around them, I'm with people sometimes, and they act inferior when they get around them. But they are actually the superior person. The world learns from you. You today, you will be, if you pull your pants down and walk around, everybody going to do it. White, black, Chinese, everybody walk with their pants down. You know, the 100 monkey theory.
Right.
But
we do influence the world.
Mm-hmm. Right, but the whole key to the whole thing is programming and mind control.
Right.
Understand that.
Now,
I forgot what the question was, though, brother.
Yeah. I'm feeling you, though. I understand where you're going. The question was basically, how do we raise our chi, and what are some of and I'm adding this part. What are some of the things that we can raise? What are some of the things that we can do to raise our chi, and what's the importance of it?
Right. Okay. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
No problem.
Chi is also, if you go see the movie Matrix, there was a Chinese guy in there who represented Montauk Chia. He was the key master.
Yeah.
Right. Chi is also known as ki. It's the same word, just pronounced differently. Depends on what country you're in or whatever your chi, ki, and it's also known by scientists as orgone energy. Orgone energy and chi energy, all these things, as I said before, need to fluctuate through your body, move through your body in a way that it could freely move. Now, the way to do that, one way to do that, first of all, which is a whole, you need a whole class on that, which is your food, number one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what exercises you're doing. I don't care what exercises you're doing. If you're eating the wrong food, your chi is going to get stagnated because the chi has to run to that area and heal and get rid of the toxins and things that are in that food. So you have to change your, first thing you have to change is what you put in your body. That means you got to learn what food is. There are foods with high chi in them. Most of those foods are purple. But during the course of the day, especially in the summer, you will eat the color of whatever the color the sun is. So, for instance, if you wake up in the morning and the sun is orange, then you know what to eat. Okay, the fruit, you know what fruits to eat, peaches and so forth, and oranges, tangerines and so forth. But then when the sun becomes yellow, now here's all your yellow fruits that you would eat. Say you want to eat some lemons and some bananas and some pineapples and maybe a few mangoes, the yellow mangoes.
Okay.
And all that food you got for when the sun is doing that. Now, then you have what they call the nightshades, which you could eat at night and in the evening, which are the dark purples, which are the grapes, and so forth. I mean, there's so much of that stuff. And then there's seasonal foods, which are like watermelon. You don't eat watermelon in the winter. Peaches. This is the closing end of the peach season, and we're heading to plums, and then the grapes comes in September. So all of that has to be learned so you can get the chi value of your food rather than going into a supermarket, which we know that supermarkets come from. What they did was they took blind mice and put them in a maze and put cheese at the end. And when the mice went through the maze and found the cheese, they said, okay, we're going to make supermarkets. So you go into the supermarket, just like the mice in the supermarket that run around, you walk around through the maze looking for the cheese, you see? And so you can't do that. You can't do that. You must learn what real food is. You have to learn what real food is. Most of your food is purple. There are trees you can eat right off of. Like I said, I'm doing the horticulture now, and we eat right off the tree in New York. As a matter of fact, I'm right in front of the vegan place in New York that just opened, and in front of their place, in front of their store, they have ginkgo trees. And me and the brother about 2 or 3 days ago were just eating right off the trees. And I said, well, y'all should bring this in here and make some salads from these trees. But you could get ginkgo and all kind of food. Learn your food. If you don't do nothing else in life, as you don't do none of the exercises, which breathing exercises you have for chi high, that raises the chi level. You have, I have a whole science that I call Tai Tree, how to get rid of negative energy and pull in positive energy. And so with the kind of time we have here now is about as best as I can explain how to do. I would have to show you, walk you through it, and then I have videos that are on either Facebook or on my website. You can actually watch that. But again, suffice it to say, chi has to deal with you replenishing your body, but you have to replenish it with high chi foods. Don't get no pork. Don't eat meat at all. Really, you should. By now, and this is 2014, there should be nobody with a brain eating meat. Nobody. Because everybody in the world is sick. Everybody in the United States is sick. Why? Okay, the hormones. We know how many documentaries we got to see on this stuff now. So you know, there's two words. There's ignorance and there's stupidity. Ignorance means you do something without knowing. Stupid means you do it and you know about it and you're still doing it.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
So as far as I know, there's a lot of people out here that know that still just, poison themselves every day.
Right.
But you're drinking poison water, you're breathing poison air. Don't compound the situation by eating poison food.
Yeah, and a lot of people are doing that, and you're absolutely right. And appreciate that, because that's very helpful to know the chi levels in foods and how we can raise our chi by actually eating the right things at the right time, if you will. So that's excellent. Now, Brother Azzaziel, have you written a book or some books, or you written some books at all, sir?
Yes, I have one. My first book was called. I have one called Ultrasonic. It's not available right now, but it will be available on PDF file in the future. Ultrasonic Hallucination, which is basically the history of metaphysics in New York, beginning with what we explained when we first came on, when I first came on the radio.
Sure.
Then there's Your Secret Self, which is dealing with how to interpret dreams, drawings. If your child has a problem and they're kind of young, because these days a lot of parents are taking their children to places because they got to go to work and all that, and you should be with your child until the age of 5, or at least to the age of, I would say, 8, really, to be honest. You shouldn't go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand that we're living in a time now that you have to maneuver your life to make it work. So if there's a problem with your child, what you do is you could order that Secret Self off my website. That is on PDF file right now, and that will show you how to tell your child to take a box of crayons and a piece of paper and draw a picture. And they don't have to say a word about what's going on in their life. That picture right there, you could email it to me or whatever, or get the book and learn how to do it yourself, will tell you everything you need to know about what's happening with that child. They speak through the colors and the artwork that they do in school. So that was one of a couple of the techniques that Freud and all the other psychologists used. Jung has an extensive book on that. It's a lot of reading. It took me years to really, with a lot of intuition with it, to really be able to do that. But that's one way to be able to determine what's going on with your children. Okay, so what was that question again, my brother? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem, man. You have a wealth of information, and it's easy to go off into different corridors of knowledge and start just spewing it. And I appreciate that, man, because we need information and let it resonate in our spirit so that we can know what to gravitate to or what works for us, because everybody is not drawn by the same things. But if we get enough of this information out here, the spirit is going to guide us and lead us to where we need to be. So I appreciate you sharing just at random anyway. But no, the question was basically your books. You've written books, and you have told us about the second book, and so you have how many books altogether? And do you have a latest book?
The latest book is Tai Tree, maybe about 7 or 8, maybe 6 or 7. I'm not sure.
I figured you were prolific.
Yeah, matter of fact, most of the stuff that I talk about or talk about today and on other radio shows, you could get that on my web PDF file page called Occult Secrets. And those are all the basic secrets or basic things that a person will need to know to understand the whole concept of the occult realm, the metaphysical realm, and the science of making things happen for you, and how to do burials, and all of these things are in those 3 volumes. I think it's 4 volumes now, called Occult Secrets. And then you have the big, sort of like a lexicon called Your Sacred Self. And that one pretty much has a big array of a whole lot of things dealing with the chakra, chi energy, what to do with magic, and all kinds of sexual energy, how to connect up with women, men, with all of these things that we are not taught. And this was interesting also. Recently we had a conversation about a lot of gay things going on. My wife was saying that the pants down means that they're gay, and I said to myself, not necessarily. We don't know who people are. We don't know who people are. The reason for that is because I found out that there are people born with a vagina and a penis. And what happens is the doctors in the hospital cut the penis off because they can't cut the vagina off. So the child grows up with a vagina but wanting to be, a man. And then you have men with penises and ovaries. You understand me? You have women with vaginas and no ovaries. So those are all called hermaphrodite, and mermaphrodites. So there are different types of people on Earth, not just man and woman. You understand?
I see.
Yeah, and that's
Wow.
real. You can look that up.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah, brother Azzaziel, you just you just opened up a whole new airway, a whole new thought process in my mind, because I never really thought about the fact that that's I've heard about hermaphrodites, but never hermaphrodites, and but you don't think about it as a reality if you're not exposed to it or have any type of experience with it. So you only think about it as a man being a man, a woman being a man, and they're having the associated parts. You don't think about the mixture of people like that living amongst you. So that's interesting that you would shed some light on that, because that has a lot to do with the reality, but it's not everybody's reality. But for the people who have that, that's their reality. So for them to have feeling in these other ways and thinking of, that's interesting. That's very interesting. I appreciate that, because that was illuminating right there, that alone. Now,
there's a lot of extensive information on that. As a matter of fact, I've done maybe about 20 lectures on sexuality, especially dealing with melanated people. So all of that's on the website. But yeah, you got to understand that when you leave the physical body, you are man and woman. You have men have 60% male energy and 40% female energy, and vice versa for the female. She has 60% female energy and 40% male energy. So and that's why you can get men that act like a little female-ish, a lot of nagging and all of that. That's his female energy. And we are one, we have both sexes within us, but when you come here as a man, your magnetism is usually to a woman to get back to that original state. So when you have that sexual act and that orgasm takes you back to where you came from, because the orgasm when you die, that's a constant state of orgasm. So sex and death is actually the same thing. Sex and death is actually the same thing. It's just you reincarnating. Some people don't reincarnate. Some people just live straight through it, 800,000 years. We decide to take a break and die, and then come back and live some more, then die and keep dying and coming back to make it to those 1,000 years. And so when you do that, it's a perk in doing that too, because what happens is you come back as a baby and you get to have up until I think 7 to 8 years of just somebody taking care of you, wiping your ass, feeding you. It's a rest period. So, but if you live straight through it, you don't get. If you live straight to 1,000 years, you won't get the rest period. But some people choose to die and come back, because they get those breaks in between. That someone else does things for them until they get on, get it going. So you have to understand that sexuality is so important. But those are basic concepts that are no longer taught or never was taught in sex education in America's school system. But in my classes and many other classes long before me, going all the way back to the 1800s, Lincoln, Nat Turner, Randolph, Sojourner Truth, all of these people taught what I'm telling you now. Sojourner Truth.
Wow.
Yeah, Sojourner Truth was a magician, and so was John Brown. All of these guys belonged to a group called the Rosicrucians. John Brown and Randolph and Lincoln, and just it's so many of them. And you can always know them by the goatee. They wear a goatee in the history books. So, but what happens is that they taught those things, and Harriet Tubman was into magic too. She knew how to star step. Just like you have Dancing with the Stars, you step in certain patterns to pull down certain energy in Dancing with the Stars. You can walk in those patterns too as you walk your daily life. You might decide you need some energy or some power. Let me just, before I get to the corner, let me walk in the pattern of the Big Dipper or whatever. And this is what Harriet Tubman was doing when she was following the North Star. The Big Dipper points to the North Star. and she was taking people and following the North Star, and so that's a whole pattern of star stepping, one of the most powerful, because the North Star is the center of this universe. It's the center of the universe, and that North Star is also known as Polaris. It's called Polaris.
Yes.
Now, the North Star is also on the flag of the North Pole, the Big Dipper and the North Star, or Polaris. Now, Polaris is where you get polarity. That's where you get male-female. That's why you are male-female in your body. That's why you have two eyes. That's why you have two arms. That's why you have two legs. Because Polaris is the energy or the chi that comes down throughout all the astrological planets all the way to hit Earth and creates a certain polarity. You understand me? So this is where you can get in the mind of God. He seeks to know everything, even though it may seem we've been programmed to think something is negative or positive or whatever. That's programming. There is no negative and positive in the sense that it's bad or good. There is negative and positive in the sense that one pulls and one pushes. But as far as I know, according to most scientists, there's only a pull. There is no push. The pull is the push. So everything is magnetic, meaning that everything is feminine. That's what that means. But in order for the feminine to see herself in a mirror, she had to have a male energy to connect to on Earth to be able to view herself, and vice versa. So when you get with your husband, your wife, and a husband gets with their wife, he's actually looking at his own feminine energy. Yes, I'm
Interesting.
sorry, brother. Call coming in. Yeah. But, so you're actually, your wife, or whoever you're with, is your reflection, as they say. And you may see a couple that may be two guys hugged up. You don't know what they actually are. You really don't know.
True.
You can only go by what you've been programmed to think. And man is originally androgynous. But when you're androgynous and you keep the male, if you keep the penis and the vagina when you come into the physical world, that becomes hermaphrodite. But in the spirit world, you are androgynous by nature. Like everything else.
Most definitely. Very, very powerful information here, my brother. You are definitely a pleasure, and it's definitely insightful with the information that you're bringing. Do you consider yourself a trailblazer of sorts?
No, not at all, brother. There are quite a few brothers up here in New York and that I'm around that may not be speakers or so forth. But no, this information is really ancient. It started, well, I can't say it started, but I mean, if you read any text dealing with Tahuti, dealing with especially Akhenaten, and then you have, coming fast forward to up to around now, you have Randolph. You have quite a few, my brother, the Rosicrucians, and some of the Europeans like the Crawley and like Annie Besant and all of that. So no, not a trailblazer at all, but just a person because we've been programmed.
Okay.
And we weren't physically slaves, but we were mentally slaves. So to break that mental slave, you have to relearn everything. And it triggers, once you begin to relearn, it triggers the information that you have in your DNA that needs to wake up. So we awaken our DNA by constantly learning. Why are you here? You're here because you're constantly learning. Don't stop learning. Oh, I'm done with that. I'm going to retire. What retire? You're supposed to live to 1,000 years. What do you mean retire? You know what I mean? So your energy, you are infinite being, and you only transform. You're just like the trees. You're just like the trees. The trees can change their sex. Some species are male, some species are female, and some are androgynous. And if you notice the trees, they're green, and we were green also. We were green. And what happened was we came through a fall, the fall being just like the leaves on the tree. The green turned brown, and then they fall, then replenish, and that's you. You were green, you turned brown, which is not a negative thing. It's just a cycle of life.
Mm-hmm.
And then you replenish back through you are the tree. You have a family tree. You replenish back through the family tree. And you are becoming green, and those trees actually flower and bring forth fruit. You are the same. And that's what the Kabbalah is trying to say to you. And your DNA is the Kabbalah, which is the tree of life. So Osiris was green. You understand? You were known as the plant man. And that's why I'm beginning to teach more on horticulture, because by studying these beautiful, wonderful trees, you learn so much about yourself and history. I mean, you'd be surprised just by going to the tree section of your store or your library. You will be surprised of all the Moorish African history you're going to find in botany, alchemy, and all of that they won't outright tell you these are the Moors. They won't tell you that. You got to go and look into the book that says botany, and in there you find how the Moors grafted how they took a strawberry and a cucumber and made the watermelon. You understand?
Didn't know that.
Yeah, right.
Didn't know that. Excellent information. Now we're speaking with Brother Azzaziel Day. Very insightful brother. A lot of information, a lot of history, a lot of you're like you're walking thesaurus of sorts of history and information. Now, going to a different place, how do we use astral projection to manifest our desires, and what is astral projection?
Well, you go to sleep every night, and that's what they call the little death. And astral projection could take place most of the time in almost any instance. I don't really recommend that for everybody, because most people are not even grounded. You don't astral project. You don't astral project when you don't have any groundedness in your life. You understand?
Okay.
You ground yourself in your life first. You take root, and then you can sprout up. You can go into the astral planes and all of that. But we all do it in our dreams. We all do it in our dreams. You go into a place known as hyperspace. Now, the astral plane is actually lower than when you go in your dreams. The astral plane is the place where possibly things can actually be seen, ghosts, demons, and things like that. But when you start to go into your dreams, you now exit time and space, and you go into a place where everything is a symbol. But when you look at it, you see a tree. But in actuality, it's just a symbol there that represents the tree, an archetype that represents the tree, the shape, and so forth. That is because we were programmed with that information in our subconscious, superconscious, and conscious mind through earlier human beings and reptilians. And I say that because all the history, when you get to that level, all the history I come across say the same thing. So I've gotten more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sources on that same information. That you were, matter of fact, when you are conceived, you're a reptilian in the womb. And you also grow up and keep the reptilian brain that you have. And that reptilian brain was an agreement with a certain level of human beings that came to this planet that took the melanin to be able to exist under the sun, because there were no melanin. You were clear. I could see right through you. You were you could move through things like jelly. When you begin to take on the melanin, the first thing that became melanized was your bones. Your bones were actually black at one time when you originally took on the human form. And matter of fact, many of the Egyptians' bones are still black, and they eat the bones and the meat, call it momibia, the melanin. And that's the Moors, when they left Spain and became pirates, and then they retired from being pirates, became ex-pirates, used the color black, and also for sale, you know? Yeah, okay. Sometimes I got to check with you. Sometimes I got to check with you to make sure the phone is still on, because sometimes these phones cut off. I'm not real versed with the cell phone, and I rarely use it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. I appreciate you putting forth the effort to communicate and let me know how we could communicate, because I was like, I wanted to have a conversation prior to, but I mean, it's worth doing it differently. If things change, we can adjust and make adjustments. Nothing has to be etched in stone. But we're speaking with Brother Azzaziel Band. The number to call in is 773-897-6555, and you push the number 1 if you have a question or comment you want to share. And Brother Azzaziel is definitely forthcoming with the with the information for sure. So let's jump into something that I'm curious about, and obviously these are questions or curiosities of mine that I trust that you may know something about them, and if not, I'm sure you'll be honest and forthright and say you don't. But are there 2 government seals on the American dollar? Why and what does that mean?
The magical symbols on the dollar, you said?
I say, are there 2 government seals on the American dollar? I think it is.
Sure. I think it's this month they just took "In God We Trust" off the money. The American dollar is not doing so good, and the American economy is not going to be doing so good in the future because they're outsourcing all the money. It's going to Israel, it's going to war, and all of that. I'm not going to go too deep into that. But, yes,
yeah, okay, that's fine.
There's 2 governments at play here. And how do you know that? You know that because you got a government that's putting out paper money, what they call a government. Then you have the government that's putting out silver coins. So since you're still putting out silver coins, the same time you're putting out paper money, you have a battle going on just with the currency. Silver coins are true to its value. They don't lose the value. They only go up. That silver coin, how come from the fiat or the Federal Reserve Bank or the American dollar, how come I need 20 of those to buy 1 true U.S. dollar, which is a silver coin?
Right.
You see what I mean? So I got to go get 20. I want to stay in the system. I like the system, so I got to go get $20 from the system, and to buy 1 silver coin that says $1 on it, I got to use 20 of those fake notes to get that $1 in order to be sovereign, because silver represents sovereignty. It also represents health. When you put a silver coin in your pocket, it purifies your blood. That's what silver is all about. It's about purification.
Really?
That's why you used it. That's why they didn't use paper. They used silver, gold, and copper, because those elements, the copper enhances the melanin, the gold enhances everything about you. That's why the Egyptians, that's why the only civilization that is, out of all the civilizations we have, the one that's more memorable is the one who had the gold, which was Egypt. And it intensified their civilization. That's what it does to you. And now silver is for people. They use silver cups, silver spoons. That is because when they ate the food, they didn't want to be poisoned by the food. The silver purified it. It also purified. They have colloidal silver. They have gold and all of that. So those were things you put in your pocket that gave you health. What you put in your pocket now is not even made from trees anymore. It is these magical symbols that they call currency to make sure that current magnetize you to their system, which is a failing system. It's just paper. That's all it is. It's like if you took a roll of toilet paper and attached a value to it, and when I went to a store, I passed off that toilet paper for someone. Then when I come back to the store, it gives me the same toilet paper back. So you just pass it off toilet paper. You there, brother?
Yes,
Hello?
sir, I'm here, and we have, yes, sir, I'm here. Hello?
Yes, hello?
Yes, sir, I'm here. You got me? You hear me?
Yes, sir, I hear you. Okay.
Okay, very good. We have a question. We have a question in the chat room from a Liberty We Moors, and it asks, when are you going on tour again?
We are planning that right now. So, but you can look for the next. I think it's what's this? June. We're in July 4th. It'll probably be either in August or September. But just check my Facebook page or my website, and you'll see a flyer up there. And that flyer will tell you which park, where it's going to be. But we do have one that's coming up that's going to be in Miami, at the Miami Botanical Gardens. So I'll have a flyer for that on my page. And then we have one coming up in Queens.
Yeah, they say they're on the West Coast. So you suggest that they go to your website to get the where you're touring and.
Right. Whenever you see a flyer on my website, or you can get the flyer off my Facebook, and that'll tell you what's happening.
And give your website again, please.
That's Azzaziel.com, AZZAZIEL.com. And then you have my wife's website, which is mundane.com.
What is that again?
And then you have my wife's website, which is majade.com, MAJADE.com.
Okay, excellent. Another question is, where does the word $5 Indian comes from? I'm not sure what that is, but
$5
Indian. Yeah, I've never heard of that one.
Well, they have there's a coin, a nickel, with the Indian head on it, and then I have silver coins like that too. That head that's on that coin is from the Tupac Indians. The Tupac Indians come from a tribe called the Kimbandas from South America, who actually traveled from Angola to South America and became the Kimbanda tribe, and they deal with what's known as Palo Mayombe, is their religion. And the leader of the Tupac tribe became the leader of the Palo Mayombe religion, and his name was Tupi, and that is the actual face that you see on the Redskins when you watch football. You're looking at a black man named Tupi, who dealt with Palo, which, like when you say politicians deal with voodoo. They're politicians, Palo Mayombe-ticians. Okay, they deal with magic, and how do we know that? Well, I grew up in Harlem. That's what Adam Clayton Powell told us. He had 3 witches working for him. So they deal with magic. We don't. We scared and all of that. So, and fear is good, but fear will keep you from doing things in your life that will cause you to die and repeat. Sometimes you repeat classes. So you can be out of here, and then you have to come back and do this shit again. The only difference is that it's a lot worse because you didn't learn it the first time. So your own consciousness says, yo, this got to be harder so I can get it, so I can get out of here. So every situation a person is in, pretty much they put themselves in that position or magnetize that situation to themselves in some way, form, or fashion. So the best thing you could do instead of complaining, because complaining means that you just want to take that negative energy and put it on somebody else. So if somebody comes to you complaining, they want to get rid of the negative energy off of them for a little while and let you hold it. Okay, so you don't want to listen to a lot of complaining and stuff. You want them to say, hey, look, shut up and get the job done, yo, because you got to get it done sooner or later.
Sooner or later. That's right. That's right. Wow. Yes, sir. Now, what is the problem with approaching spirituality through religion?
There's not a problem with that at all. Religion is valid.
Okay.
Religion is valid. It's just used as mind control. But it is mind control for all those masses of people who, you got to understand something. Not everybody, just because you see another brother that looks just like you and maybe your twin, that don't mean that he has the DNA capacity to hold the information that you can hold. Some people can't hold information that another person can hold. Otherwise, everybody would be a scientist. Everybody would be a doctor. Not everybody can hold that information in their DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is religion is a stair step, because we all come through it, including myself. I was a minister, a bishop.
Right.
So we all come through these stair steps that you get this information and you unravel the puzzle as you go on the way. You say, oh, man, I can't believe I was in that stuff, man. That messed me up, that religion stuff. No, it was a stair step for you to get to where you are now that you had to go through, like an alarm clock. Everyone hates an alarm clock. The alarm clock goes off, you hate that. That's what religions are. They wake you up to certain points and facts. For the people who don't have the DNA to hold the capacity of heavier, deeper science, they're scared of it. It's a cult and all of that. So they need to stay in the religious aspect of it and stay there for their comfort zone and learn little by little. They can't jump like some other people can. You understand? So everyone is born. Everyone is born. You choose your parents. You say, I want this guy. When this guy gets together with this girl, I'm going to be born through them, because together they will produce the DNA that can hold my thoughts.
Mm.
And so
it is a planned effort.
Right. You plan you choose the parents you want to come through. You have second choices, third choices, and all of that, but you have optimal choices also that you choose to come. You're not related to them at all. You're just using their DNA to come here to finish learning the lessons that you need to learn, and that DNA will have the capacity to hold those lessons.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, since you went there, can we change our DNA? And if so, how so?
Your DNA changes on a daily basis. You can change your DNA by eating some GMO food. Your DNA changes constantly. And see, when they do DNA testing, and if your DNA has changed, they base it on where would it go when it changes to this level to that level. So they're able to still map your DNA, because this is how your DNA would change over time based on what it is already, on your legacy. Your legacy is like in the computer, where you come from. That's why they could go all the way back to Africa and still check your DNA what part of Africa you came from today, because they can map out the change in your DNA. What would it morphosize into? And they map it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your DNA the reason why your DNA constantly changes, because your DNA basically is the physical aspects of your thoughts. Your thoughts come first, and then the thoughts form protein bases. And those protein bases connect together in a string. And they connect together in a string and form and continue to form with the zygote, with the cytoplasm, and continue to form what's known as, boom, now I got DNA because I got this amount of thoughts. Then when you continue to receive these thoughts, your DNA continue to grow and continue to change. And those are the instructions that not only come from your past life, but also comes from the species mind pattern. Meaning that your mother and father is connected to their mother and father, and on and on and on. And your DNA says, hey, I need curly hair, I need brown skin, and I need these thoughts that I came here to learn some stuff about. That's why when I grow up, I'm going to be a basketball player or a football player in the NBA. That's why I'm not going to be a scientist, because I came here for that particular reason.
So basically, it sounds like our prior experiences are a prelude to our level of conscious awareness in the here and now, whatever the present time is. Is that true?
And in some aspects that is true, but your lessons go all the way back to when you were an insect or when you were a tree or plant. There is a such thing as evolution. Evolution means that you gain more knowledge as you incarnate through the levels of your consciousness on this planet. Meaning that when you see a roach, when you see insects, roaches come from dead tree wood. They come from trees. And most insects, when they become insects, those insects come from plants. So plants become insects. And if you look at some of the insects, they look just like leaves. They look like plants. They look like wood. Then those insects now move either into the amphibian world or the mammal world because they were eaten by mammals or reptilians or amphibians, those insects. So they become absorbed into the animal world, the thoughts of that insect. When you eat a GMO cow that the European gives you in your supermarket, you're eating the cow's thoughts.
Wow, because the thoughts created the being. The thoughts created whatever the being is. So yes, I get that. Wow.
When you go to one of those fast food places and get McDonald's, nobody in there likes their job. They all hate their job, and negative energy goes on the food, and you walk out of there eating it. To show you how to show you how that all works. So the thoughts are first. That's Tahuti. And then once the thoughts become solidified into the mind, then it becomes physical, which is you. And that's why you look the way you look. No one on earth looks the same. No one has the same fingerprints. No plant has the same leaf. No blade of grass is exactly the same. But they are a species that resonate on the same thought.
I have another question in the chat room, and the chat room is full of questions. The queue is, we have people in queue, but they're not asking questions, but the chat room's got questions, and the question is, how much influences did Black Herman have on the magicians today? I'm not familiar with Black Herman, but...
Black Herman was the master magician of Harlem.
Okay.
We have a park over here called named after him, called Herman Rucker. There's a tournament in that park called Rucker Tournament.
I've heard of Rucker Park now. I've heard of that a lot.
Right. Well, Rucker comes from Herman Rucker, who was Black Herman. He was magic, and they called it Rucker Park because the magic that was going on in basketball with Dr. J and all of that, and Magic Johnson and all the rest of them do. So they called it Rucker Park based on that magic. But Rucker was actually a really powerful person. And there's a lot of information on him, but you can get what's known as there's a book in Barnes & Noble's called Occult. I think it's called Occult Secrets. I can't think of the name of it right now. But in there's the whole history of Black Herman. His wife just passed away not too long ago. But we visit his gravesite all the time at Woodlawn Cemetery when we do the nature walks and teaching on the dead and how to approach graves and so forth. We go to his grave all the time. But he lived on 135th Street, and he was just a really powerful man. As far as magic goes, that was just one trait. He was a tarot reader. He was just into all forms of the occult. And just a powerful, teach children in classes at his two-story house in Harlem on 135th Street. He actually, people would go to him and they couldn't pay their rent. He would actually pay their rent for them. Just a wonderful, powerful brother. Yeah, one of those hidden gems that you don't hear about. He had someone he worked under called whose name was Herman. Was a white man, and so he went under that guy's name to get his fame. His true name was Herman Rucker. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So that's definitely, obviously, a history lesson, and one that we should know. Now, can you help us to understand how that which we seek is actually seeking us? Or is that true?
Well, that's always true. Sometimes I go out and around in the city, and I find things that no one else could find, and people always come and say, "Yo, how did you find that?" But that's I'm always magnetized to those things that once you learn about it, it begins to magnetize you. So it's like you're looking for it, but at the same time, since there's no electrical force, as they say, that's only magnetic, that means that based on your thoughts are pulling that energy to you. As far as the the thing that you're seeking is also pulling toward you. So if I'm going into nature now and I'm dealing with horticulture, I'm constantly finding out things and finding things that I would never even think of or think to look at, and it just pops right in front of your face, like it's almost like it was just magnetized. Boom! Look at this. Look at the word weeding. Weeding means I don't want this in my garden. It doesn't mean dandelion. It doesn't mean any kind of plant that's in your garden that they call a weed. That's not true. A weed is anything you don't like in your own personal garden. And so things like that just pop out at you that I wasn't looking for that, but based on where I'm at, it's just going to magnetize to me, which that's always happened. And it depends on the determination also of the person and what they're dealing with also. But yes, the thing that you seek is the actual thing. And sometimes the thing that you fear does the same thing. The thing that you fear also does that.
Oh, okay, because of the focused energy that you're putting on that thing. You're drawing it to yourself.
Right. You have so much fear of it that you continue to think of it. The thoughts are magnetic.
Okay. Wow. Definitely. Very profound, sir. Very profound. Really appreciate you. And I love this, the energy that you have in terms of, how it's free-flowing and you're just real open. Like I think I called the first time I really got wind of you was doing something with Baba TV, and you pulled a leaf right off the tree and ate it. Say, man, people don't even know that you could, all of this stuff is edible, the different things you can learn, and that we could just survive without even, and you pulled a leaf off the tree. I'm not sure, maybe you were in Harlem, you were somewhere in New York, and you just grabbed the leaf off the tree and say, yeah, man, you can eat this. This is food, And I thought that was amazing. So you're doing some extensive work with plants. And so tell us more about what we're doing when we're like touching and hugging and grounding ourselves with tree energy and those types of things.
Oh, wow. That's another hour of information. But I will say that trees are living creatures, and when you approach them, you have to approach them with much respect. Every tree has its own science to it. Every tree has a different energy. There are different sizes of trees, and they all mean different things. Most people, as a novice, and you want to begin to get into dealing with the trees as far as magic, as far as energy, as far as chi or Tai Chi, you start with a tree that's about 20 feet or less tall. Don't go to no big-ass tree and try to do any work with that. And the small tree, you could just to begin to learn is if you have a chair, or if you want to stand for about half an hour, just kind of stand within the energy field of that tree. If it's about 20 feet tall, then the energy field should be about 3 to 2 feet. The aura should be about 2 to 3 feet. And so you just kind of just stand in that energy field and get familiar with that tree and let it tell you what it wants you to know and give you the energy it wants to give you. That's a good start without getting too technical and too deep. And I said start with a 20-foot tree. The definition of tree is that anything with one trunk and over 20 feet. If it has a trunk and it's over 20 feet, it's a tree. If it's under 20 feet, it's called a sapling, and that's mainly for humans to use. But the energy on the big trees, you could use them, but I wouldn't use it on my own unless you know what you're doing, because some trees can give you high blood pressure just by standing around it, staying in its energy field. Some trees are really good to eat. I mean, it's just there are literally millions of trees. So, but I would suggest Get you a tree book, but only get the tree book that only deals with your area. Don't worry about other areas. Start in your area and learn the trees in your area, because once you learn the trees in your area, you're going to know your own energy, because that's your energy. Your energy is like in that same area. So your energy is where you live. And so start with getting a tree book for your neighborhood or your area. Write down the trees or take a picture of them and go to Google and look them up and all of that. Then after you learn that, then begin to look at the occult side or the spiritual aspects of it, and how did we use it as food, and the Nalaki Indians, the Iroquois, how did they use it and all of that? What was it called by them? And so it's just that's why you're here. You're here to learn all those things. You're here to figure all that out, because anyone listening to this show, you are a shaman of your family. Anybody on this show right now listening, you are the shaman of your family. You are the person that will know these things. You don't have to tell them when they need to get healed. Oh, go over there and get the leaf off that tree, chew it up, mix it with your saliva, and put it on the wound. They don't have to know the science on it. You just tell them what to do. But you're going to, if you don't know it, you can't do it. If you don't know it, you can't do it. So you begin to, and I would say, to be really good at what I'm saying right now, study the trees for at least 1 year. If you study for 1 year, you'll be good enough to be able to heal and do some things. It takes a lot longer, but if you could do it for 1 year, you'll get the basics, the names of the trees, what they do, and so on and so on. You see, so and that's where your chi is going to come from. Okay, your chi is going to come from those trees, because and especially in the fall when they turn orange, they're giving off that orange, that sacral plexus energy into you, and you can absorb it. They're giving it off at that time. You see, same thing when they're coming in, when they're green, when they're real small. Almost every tree you can think of, you can eat the leaves when the trees are small. There's a percentage that you cannot, though, and that's why we do these training classes on that. Take people out into the field.
Okay. Very good. Absolutely excellent. Now, we touched on so much, and you're so widely versed in knowledge, so please forgive me for picking and probing, but chakras, the colors of the chakras, how do they relate to the different alerts and the alarm signals that the society is raining on us? Is that directly related or indirectly related to our chakras?
Yes, of course, brother. Of course, it's directly related. Color is basically it's an illusion, but at the same time, it's very important, because the reason why they're important is because you can measure them. You can measure the energy of color. All right, and it's also you can hear them. You can hear color. On the astral plane, there's color. There's a lot of color. But when you manifest on the astral plane, it's hard. The color is hard to bleed through from the astral plane to physical reality. Whereas if you go into hyperspace, it's nothing but everything is color. Color everywhere, tones, vibrations, sounds. And so your chakras on a daily basis, starting from the bottom of your feet, which is the black rounded chakra, then the brown chakra below the knees, the sacral plexus the root chakra at the groin and vaginal area. And those three chakras alone right there, and all the others, have a specific tone. So like if an animal, you're in the woods or in the jungle, and an animal comes up to you and he just stops and he stares at you, he's listening to the tone of your chakras and see where the fear is resonating at. Is it resonating at the root chakra, the heart chakra, the crown chakra, or whatever? And that's how they choose which animal or which person they're going to attack. They hear. They don't. A lot of animals can't see every color, but they can see your auric field. And the auric field pulsates based on the sounds that are emanating from your chakras. Each chakra having that particular tone. And so the animals, the ears will go up. They'll see death, they'll see attack, or they'll see no fear. Whatever they see is based on your chakras actually speaking to them. Okay, so
Wow.
And so most fear start at the root chakra, which is the groin area, That's why if you ever been if a nigga gets scared and gets in a situation, his penis not gonna get hard. His penis is gonna fucking shrink. Okay, and when a person goes into fear, when a man goes into fear, his penis shrinks. That's what the dog is hearing. That's what the animal is seeing and hearing. They're hearing that shrinking, that your penis shrinking, and that is that root chakra they're looking at. As a matter of fact, that is at their eye level, most animals. You understand? Most of us eat from the eye level. We eat what we can see. A lot of people don't eat what they know or what they can't get. They eat only what they can see. That's where we're at right now. And that's not me or you, and that's not your listening audience, but that is where you're at in society. Brainless drones around like zombies. All of us have chakras. And guess what? Your chakras are like fingerprints. Nobody has the same color chakra as you. Nobody. Matter of fact, on Earth, there is nothing exactly the same. Not one thing. So you can't even live your life every day doing the same thing, because then you're out of order with nature. If you go to work every day for 30 years, you go to work every day for 30 years taking the same route, and when it's time for you to retire, you're all sick because why? You took the same route. That's not natural. You're not supposed to do the same thing every day.
Got it. Sounds really, really interesting. And you know, the part about the fear, we were taught, or I used to think that animals or dogs or whatever smelled fear, but what you're saying is they pick up the resonating vibrations of your chakra, your root chakra, which they see the fear because they're listening for it, or they hear it and feel it. They're listening for this sound that your energy is giving off through this chakra. Never heard of that before. And not to say, you know, that it's not so. I'm saying it makes sense because we are vibrating, pulsating, we're alive. So there are a lot of things going on that we're not always conscious of. And so that illuminated some more light and rings true in my spirit. If something rings true in my spirit, 99.9 of the time it's true. So that is something that I had not known and hadn't heard, and I really appreciate that, you know, because that's a heck of a discovery in that. So we're going to be working more with our chakras for sure to work on that energy and making it be in harmony with ourselves. Now, what does the work that you do reveal about you and the spiritual level of awareness and commitment that you have, or with anybody, you know, not just you, but anybody? Was that the work that a person does, how does that reveal the level of spiritual awareness and commitment that they may have?
Well, you can't know anything about anyone really unless they let you know it. But you, as a person who may come here and do what we do, or do what you do, and some of the people listening, that is your destiny. That's what you woke up and came here so many times, and this is the point in your incarnations where you are, and you're constantly learning. If I don't say nothing else to you, continue to learn. There's 3 things you must know. There are 3 things you must know. And the Illuminati, if you don't know them, what we call the Illuminati, which is not really the Illuminati, but the European Illuminati, they look at you as a useless eater. They call you useless eater if there's 3 things you don't know. There's 3 things you don't know, that's what you are. And that is who you are, where you come from, and why you're here. You must know those 3 things. If you don't know those three things right there, then you really are a useless eater.
Okay. Got it. I feel like I know who I am and what I'm here for, and all of that, even more so. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Now,
you are here. You are here to learn. You are here to create. You have to create while you're here. That means It's just like man and woman, when they get together, they create a child. That is their chi, or their sexual energy, or their destiny. It could be artwork. It could be whatever it is you do. You are here to create, and you are also here to learn. And who are you? You are, if you're a man, that makes you eternity. If you're a female, that makes you infinity. That's what the female is, infinity. Matter of fact, interestingly enough, there's a Silver Surfer cartoon where they actually teach that. They actually teach you that. Yeah.
And that's in a cartoon, huh?
In a cartoon.
Very good. Very good.
What I just said
now,
to you, should have answered those 3 questions.
Say that again?
What I just said to you answered those 3 questions. Who you are, where you're from, and why you're here.
Okay. Okay. For sure. For sure. For absolutely sure. Now, is it healthy to have and hold on to superstitious beliefs? If not, why or why not?
Superstition is really what I call super intuition. It has its roots in reality, and it's something that really actually works. So superstition is another attempt to pull or to down some of the energy and pull some of the energy away from something that is real and true science. Because the only person really into superstition was really the Moors, us. That's why they call it superstition. That's what what they do is they have to make it look not as important as it should be. And that will pull energy away from it. So we all know there are things in our lives. We all know there are things in our lives that we call superstition that really happened. They hit the number and all of that. That's real. It's all about energy. It's all about energy, my brother. Everything has a certain level of energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely, so, man. You're right on point.
So if religion is valid, superstition is surely valid.
Okay. Okay. Now, Azzaziel, why are you so impassioned and determined?
One more thing. Why would I put the word super in front of it if it was so bad and it ain't real?
Okay. Okay.
Why would I put the word super in front of it?
And that's a good point. Now, I was about to ask you, why are you so impassioned and determined with what you do as your life work?
You know, I was born that way, like we all are. We're born that way. And it's, you don't know it. It doesn't kick in or it doesn't operate until you get to a certain level. But one thing for sure, you must follow the path of your destiny. That's the only way you're going to succeed. You can't go to a job and go to work and say, hey, I'm going to make my pay and go home. No, because you've given all your energy that you're supposed to be using on yourself to the person in the store for his business and his idea and his destiny. You're uplifting his incarnation when you should be uplifting yours. And that means, or there are some of us that came here to help others along also. But you came here in a physical body with a soul, with your consciousness and chi and chakras and all of that, that's all equipment to get done the things you need to get done. You understand? So it's very valid and it's very real. So you come here to do these things and you are born that way. You may not wake up, so 20 years ago I was like this, but now I'm like this. No, you had to go through those 20 years of whatever that was to get to the point to where you are now. Never regret anything in your life. It's all a lesson. All of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I say that all the time. So now, having said that, how can we, or help us to understand, help us if you can to understand how we can change the programming or change the adjusted programming or change the programming altogether, because clearly we've all been programmed to some level on a lot of various things. So how do we go or what do we do to change that?
And that's like a 3-hour answer to that question, my brother.
Well, well, listen, I would love to get you back next week or another day or whatever, because it's fascinating and that. But we can talk about that later. But yeah, just give us a little short answer, because the show is about to be over in less than 10 minutes. So you I'm sure you can do well. Yeah, you can do something with that.
Now, mind control. There are different techniques to break the mind control, and everybody's different. But at the age of 40, your programming begins to break down automatically. That's what happened to Michael Jackson. That's what happened to everybody who's on TV. They wake up around the age of 40 and they start talking. And so they either get rid of them or stop putting them on TV or whatever. Some of them don't talk or don't say anything, but at the age of 40, the mind control, that's why they only abduct children. That's why at 10 o'clock they always say, do you know where your children are? And all these missing children. Not too many missing old people, but a lot of missing children. You see, so there are definitely a lot of techniques, which even to talk about one is just too lengthy. But suffice it to say, at the age of 40, your programming begin to break down. You get wisdom. Wisdom breaks the program down. You go, hey, wait a minute. I've been doing this thing for this ain't right. Hey, wait a minute. That dude made sense. It starts to kick in because the silver chakra is opening up. The silver chakra is where you get your white hair or your silver or gray hair. It's at the top of the head. When that begins to wake up, then the mind control. Now, you still got niggas that still do the same old thing and still program, but stupidity, because the wisdom should tell them better, and they decide to stick to doing what they're doing anyway. That's called stupidity. But you do have many who wake up at that age, and then it's a whole nother, it breaks down that mind control. Like I said, Michael Jackson started doing Egypt at the age of 40. You know what I'm saying? Remember the time and all of that. So that happens. So, but there are other techniques that you could use too, and if one of the easiest ones I would have to mention, doesn't directly impact mind control, but it helps a lot, and that is your food. So that is your food. Always watch your food. Don't go around saying, hey, I can't afford this, I can't afford that, it's too expensive. What do you mean? Your life, what you're putting into your body, you're telling me with them $100 sneakers on and all of that, that what you're doing if you live longer, you can't afford. Okay. All right? And that right there is going to produce negative karma.
Okay. I got you. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Listen, Brother Azzaziel, man, it's been a pleasure, a delight. Give what's coming up for you, what's going on, your website again, your wife's website. Give some connecting information on you, please.
Yes, you could always, we make magical talismans to help deal with any illnesses and chakras and chi and all of that. And you can see that on myjade.com, which is MA-JADE.com. And then for my website, I have on there organs, pyramids, things that will help you to block mind control and all kinds of things there, books, PDFs, DVDs, and you can also go to Azzaziel, which is AZZAZIEL.com, and look at that. You can also go to my Facebook page. I usually put some stuff up there to make you laugh and heal. Laughter is healing, and if you don't laugh, you slaughter yourself. The word laughter and slaughter being the same, just take the S off of one of them.
Yes.
And so you could check all of that out, and you could always email me any questions or anything like that. And brother, we'll have to continue another time, maybe a couple of weeks or so.
Well, listen, if you're available in a couple of weeks, I'll gladly have you back for a part 2, because I definitely want you to get into some of those things that we weren't able to get into, or that you feel like you can get into, or whatever. I just appreciate your time, your effort, and the making the connection with me and my listeners on this show. I really, 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 my humble appreciation to you, brother. I really appreciate that.
No problem.
But
glad to have been with you.
Yeah, so I will communicate, email you, what have you, and we can see if we can make that happen on another date and time, okay?
Sounds good, brother.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Love family, we're getting close to the end of the show, and we've been talking with Brother Azzaziel Bey, who is definitely a master in the chi energy, and Tai Chi is some of his or one of his specialties. So, and I am your host, Revelation, a.k.a. The name of this show is Get Your It Together, and we've been fascinated and definitely enjoying this very profound exposure to the Brother Azzaziel. Brother Azzaziel, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate you being here. And Love Family, we appreciate you for definitely being a part of this program. It's groundbreaking in that we've never done a show that touched upon some of these deep-seated fears, which should not be fearful. We shouldn't be fearful of at all. They're just another aspect of our being. They're just another part of what it is that we do and who we really are. And so the people that I have to expound on those realities are just here to share the love, if you will, and share the knowledge, information, and the wisdom that comes from the work and the focus of the intense, dedicated work that we must do to cultivate ourselves. So, Love Family, it's always a pleasure. Again, this is Revelation, a.k.a. The name of this show is Get Your It Together. I am a voice of consciousness, and you can go to GYIT at KYNGJAYMES and give us some questions or comments or share some possible guests that you'd like to think to hear from or that you think would be what we would like to be interested in interviewing. And that is the end of our show. But always remember, energy flows where attention goes, and we're always showering you with light, love, and always at peace.